Welcome to the Running Channel Podcast 2026. I can't believe it.
It's January, it's the new year, and what do you do in the new year?
Well, you change absolutely nothing because you're born motivated.
Thank you.
You definitely don't dread going back to work because you don't really go to work in the first place.
No, that wasn't it, actually. You make New Year's resolutions. And if you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, it turns out you may be making a running resolution. You might be deciding to run a first marathon, go for a PB at 10K. And if you are doing any of those things, well, you are in the right place, friends. Are they not?
Are we friends?
We're all friends here.
Yeah.
We're all friends here together. Because today, this episode is going to help you no matter what your goals are this year. Because whilst we're going to go through a full list of what to avoid in training and for racing a marathon, there are mistakes that you often make just in general about your running.
Yeah, we've all made lots of mistakes, Rick more than most. So we'll dive into those in today's episode, I'm sure. I've made plenty of mistakes in my 2 lonely marathons that I've done. So yeah, maybe we should just dive straight into it.
Let's do it.
So I've been quite nervous recently about one part of my watch. It's the little notifications thing that pops up.
Right.
And I don't like being notified. I don't like being that on all the time. So I thought...
You don't like
all the
being
time.
on.
You're never on.
You're
Yeah.
off.
I don't, listen, let me finish. I thought I'm going to change it because I didn't like it. I'd be playing a tennis game, losing to an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I get a buzz popping out. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be constantly contactable. So I thought, okay, I'll remove it. But what should I replace it with? Because there are lots of options on your watch which you can replace it with. I thought I'd replace it with something called acute load.
Oh no, he's done some research. It's all just a setup for some research that Rick's done.
Okay, tell us about acute
I don't think that
load.
really replaces notifications on your phone though.
No,
It
that
does. I've
really
swapped
does.
it in. It does. I've swapped it in.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, as a widget.
It's on my screen. I now have
okay.
acute load with a...
Yeah,
it's
I
like
use
a
the screen quite a
dartboard.
bit.
It's like a dartboard with a little pin on it, and it gives you a nice number.
I'm actually
The bigger the number, the better.
Right,
That is
okay,
acute
go on
load.
then.
So
Tell us what acute
acute
load is.
measures the
I don't think the bigger the number, the better is true at all.
No.
of your recent workouts
Yeah.
calculated by your body's short-term stress, essentially.
So yeah,
So there's an optimal level of acute load.
yes.
Now,
So
I look at
the higher the better is not true.
well, okay, mine got down to about 50, and then I was like, whoa, alert in my head.
Yeah.
Need to get out, need to run. When it's, kind of 300, 400 number, I'm doing well.
So when you've got 300 or 400 acute loads,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Then
Is
you're
that
doing
what
well.
yours is?
You want it to be in the green zone, right? Like
Yeah,
you want
exactly.
it-
Mine's
you don't want to- you don't want to-
366.
Mine's 920.
You're joking me.
I know.
You don't want to exceed.
How did you do that?
I'm just loaded up and ready to go.
Did you bribe it?
No.
How did you get your acute load to that high?
Well, I work 5 days a week.
Hang on. No,
So I really load
I've had a
myself.
rest week and my acute load's 288.
You're saying 288. Wow, how is mine 920?
Well, I haven't done
See,
anything in the last week.
I'm
really,
so
since my-
pleased. See, this is exactly what I wanted to happen. You two generally got interested about a widget I found on my watch. So thank you very much.
I use one called running tolerance on my Garmin as well. So that effectively tells you like what the tolerance you'd have, your body would have that week to training and whether you're going above or beyond it. And it might be that you do a 10K run, but you do it really hard. And so it'll say the actual impact load of that. It might have been like 18K.
Running tolerance is this?
Yeah.
Sarah, have you got one that you can advise? A widget that people should have on their watch screen?
I always bang on about it, but I actually zoned out, which does happen quite a lot when I listen to Andy. But for real reasons, so I was scrolling through my watch and my HRV is unbalanced. And that for me is the main, if I could only have one feature on my watch, apart from it
Heart
telling
rate
me that
variable.
I could run, it would literally be heart rate variability.
Yeah.
Variability.
Because it tells you if you might not realise, but your life just might be a little bit unbalanced.
Yeah.
And it's been Christmas, been out lots, had a disruption to my routine.
Like it?
And I'm unbalanced.
Well, I think
three recommendations there for you. Let us know if you like them.
Yeah, and having the right amount of sleep and a balanced HRV is probably the best place to start training for a particular event or distance so that you're not kind of going to overcook it from day one because you're already dug yourself a hole. Before we dive into talking about that marathon though, I do want to just rewind 1 second to what Rick started that with. because I think it is worth giving people a little glimpse behind the curtain that you said you're a bit worried about being too connected and like getting these notifications on your watch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're the classic 1 or 2 day later WhatsApp replier.
Oh, are you?
I am.
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
Yeah.
Sarah once told me that I'm, despite not checking my work emails for 5.5 years, that I am one of the best replier in the team.
Oh, on email. 100%.
No, on WhatsApp.
No. Maybe it's just me that you wait like 1 or 2 days to reply to.
I only WhatsApp you for work things, and most of the time, it's in your benefit to reply.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
be like, "Hey, mate, really sorry. Can you do this shoot in 2 days'
Mine are never
time?"
about work. I'm like, I love you, mate. How you doing?
Oh.
And then like 48 hours later, I just get okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just like, who dis?
Who taught you to see Lionel Richie last year?
You did.
I did get to go to Lionel Richie. Just saying.
Who do you want to see this year?
Yeah, we're going to go and see this year, Rick.
I've actually got loads of gigs booked.
Oh, right.
You don't even want to come with us.
Doesn't even wanna come.
I'm going to see Olivia Dean. That's going to be the highlight of my year. But if you can top
In
that,
London?
I'll come.
In London?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tom's booked for me, him, and his mum, I think, to go see Alan Carr.
Oh,
that'll be fun.
good.
But that's in 2027.
Oh, God.
So I've got to wait ages.
That's
for
keen.
I
That
know,
really
it
is keen.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
Speaking of-
I need a band for my wedding, so I'll be seeing them, whoever they are.
Oh, yeah. Well, and
Don't
we
have
are
to.
invited to that, Andy,
Yeah.
But at the moment.
at the moment. In
Last
November
man
this
I know, you
year.
don't want him
Rick
to,
is,
Rick could be your one-man band at the wedding.
I'm happy to sing at your wedding.
Yes.
Don't call
Let's
us,
make
we'll
this
call you.
happen. Let's make this
I would
happen.
love to
You
sing
haven't
at your
finished
wedding.
the album.
I think those things, how fitting would it be if Sarah was to, is it the recessional when you leave the church having
Yes.
been married? So the recessional
Yeah.
could just be, as you're like holding Tom's hand, you just had this incredible romantic moment, you're leaving the church. He's the last man on earth. No?
No? She doesn't seem amused.
It's just not really doing it for me.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to lie. But what is doing it for me is pledge a 5K PB. We've all done this and we are so excited to announce. So this is coming out on the 3rd of January. On the 1st of January, we announced that this year we've got a pledge a 5K PB campaign that's running from January all the way through to the end of February. Yeah. And we have all pledged 5K times that we are going to try and run. Some of them are like all out PBs.
Yeah.
Some of them, Andy's, can't quite get back to
I can't run
PB
13:20.
era.
Sorry.
Other people like Jess have just come off the back of running 42 marathons. So she's trying to get back to a time that won't quite be an all-out PB.
And we just want as many people as possible to get involved, even if you're not training specifically for a 5K right now, because it could be, use it as a B race or a stepping stone on the way to training for any other distance. You can effectively log your pledge. So you say, I'm going to pledge to try to run this time 5K in the next however many weeks.
Yeah.
And then you just got to go and do it. And then there's a chance to win loads of amazing prizes and to take part in the campaign and to support us as well.
We'll also be giving lots of bits of tips and motivation along the way. So if you have any 5K questions that you would like us to answer on the podcast each week to help you through your 5K training, email in podcast@therunningchannel.com. Otherwise, head to the link in the show notes to find out everything about Pledge Your PB.
Do you two think there is one thing overall, not just poorly training, but one thing that people get wrong with marathons? Like a specific thing that overall, above everything else, this is what people mess up on.
I only have... It's hard to pinpoint it to one thing. If I could do a broader thing rather than a super specific thing, I think people underestimate the marathon distance. And I think a lot of mistakes that everyone must have made in a marathon can all be boiled down to underestimating just how long it is, just how far it is, just how hard this distance is, and how unlikely it is that everything is going to run perfectly on marathon day itself.
I think that is quite specific.
I think that's the biggest mistake. I agree, is that assuming that you're going to get like 16 weeks or how many weeks of like just ticking all the boxes.
Yeah. Or even assuming on the day that you're going to get a perfect play out.
Because the weather or the toilets or queues or whatever.
So yours, Andy, is not planning for things to go off course, that people don't do that.
Yeah, I think, and also then it's the mistake of being like, well, I have to either make up for lost time, because something always goes wrong. Like think about how much running you're trying to do in a marathon block, particularly if you're training for a spring marathon, which we're talking about now. Loads of the training has to be in the dark or the bad weather or particularly the bad weather, the cold, the
Just
wet.
start a bit later.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have busy
Yeah,
lives.
because from the 19th of January, it's going to be so dry all the way to April. You're preparing for a marathon, though.
I am, yeah.
So this actually, all of this information is going to be...
Well, I am listening.
You better have your pen
acutely.
and paper at the ready.
Yeah.
ready to write all of this down.
I think that is interesting, though. And it probably is a genuine flaw on my approach that I've not left room for error. So if you get a bug or a cold in the middle of your training and you it knocks out 3 weeks of your, even if you are doing 16 weeks, that 3 weeks, if you don't pick up correctly, or maybe you go in too hard. So for example, say you missed 3 weeks and you just picked up where you were supposed to be and you've got to be running 25k and last time you ran, you were actually at 12. You can't just make that jump when you come back from sickness.
No, that's a challenge, but I think you've got to assume that there will be setbacks. And that's, I think, the most important thing going into the block is like, well, there's going to be something. Like, I'm going to miss a run. You're inevitably going to get a little bit ill or have a niggle, or just life's going to get in the way and you have to go to a wedding or a christening or whatever it might be. So accepting that. And I remember speaking to my coach, Andy Hobdell, before
I know him.
Valencia, and he was like, my job is to get people to the start line having done 80% of the training.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Really? Is that what he said?
At least though, people are starting there with some sense of structure.
Yeah.
I would say another error that perhaps is easy to fall into is if you have either never done a marathon or you've done a few marathons and you think you've got the hang of it, it's very easy to go like, okay, this is kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's also very easy to go, okay, well, with a marathon, the most important thing is I need to do long runs. So you go like, okay, I'm going to do this, and this with the long runs, and then I'll just do some running around
I've just been having a bit of fun. I'm just going to run a bit further.
Yeah.
But you need a structure in your week. I think you need to plan out the week and then the next few weeks, know what's coming, build that around. Like a marathon is an undertaking that I think you genuinely need to work out if you can fit it around work and life.
Yeah.
Because you have got to schedule it in.
That makes complete sense what you two have just said. No, it's almost like it's just fallen into place. Did
we just do something insightful?
No, it's just fallen into place because
it was something insightful for him to misinterpret.
Consistently, whenever I've like interviewed business figures or people who've run companies before in other work,
the 6 prime ministers, for example.
One of the things there's like a common theme. They always talk about just showing up. 80% of the success that they've built is by just showing up. There's the 20% act, which is the flair, hard work, passion, but actually it all comes into that 80% of just showing up. And that block that you two are talking about, showing up after things have gone wrong.
I think it's like a bell curve as well. Like with most things, there's like bits either side of you can definitely do too little, equally you can do too much. And we've seen examples of it, like even in the Running Channel office where people have been training for marathons and they've had some blocks where they've gone in, their trainings looked phenomenal on paper, but they may have like slightly overcooked it. Equally, we've had people who have gone in underprepared and then they've come back. I think if you've done a marathon before, don't fall into the trap of being like, okay, well, I've done 1 or I've done 5. I know exactly how this works now. Off I go. I'm going to take my learnings and do it, because something will surprise you. And you don't have to have it all figured out. I think you just need to be ready for the unknown.
Agree. So it's not, and going into that block, everyone fixates, I fixate on my longest run of the block. I'm like, looking, that's going to be at week, whatever it might be, 12, 13. And I'm like, well, everything's building up to that one moment. And then in my head, subconsciously, then if I don't get to do it, and this is exactly what happened to me at Valencia, then I'm thinking, oh, well, that's it. It's game over.
Yeah, can't do it.
But I have done quite a lot of other training. So it's not always the end of the world. So that'll be things. Plan some structure, aim for consistency, don't fixate on sort of perfection.
We've also done a mistake ourselves, because I think 2 things need to happen when you're training for a marathon. 1, you need to do some running, which we've just spent 10 minutes talking about.
Yeah.
2, you need to do something to support the running.
Maybe even start this beforehand if you can. Like, I know we're now into January, so it's not a bit late. It's never too late. But strength and conditioning.
Start something, strength and conditioning wise. If you've never done any strength or conditioning before, don't think, oh, well, I'm marathon training, so I won't have time to do that. Try something. If
calf
you're starting
raises in the
from
shower,
0,
15 on each leg.
Simple bodyweight exercises, Pilates to make you stronger, yoga, whatever it might be, but just something to supplement the fact that your body is taken a big toll by marathon training.
Yes, agree. So yeah, don't neglect the strength and conditioning. That's one of our mistakes we've got written down is neglecting strength and conditioning is a mistake. And what happens is you usually pay for it a couple of weeks after the fact that you've neglected it.
Yeah. And also not trusting your body. So if you have had an illness in the middle and you go, right, well, I need to cram in more training, I'll just skip the taper. Bad idea.
Yeah. And again, just lessons learned. Like Valencia, I had to take it right up to the wire. I was very conscious of like, well, I've missed a really key part of my training. I need to put something in to give me the confidence that I'm going to go out there and do well. But I can't just go and go, oh, I'm going to run 35K 10 days before the marathon.
No, madness.
So, but I did have to do some hard stuff. And instead of having a sort of 2.5 week taper, which I think I had the first time, I had more like a 8 to 10 day taper. And that definitely was challenging because I was tired. I was dealing with all of the paranoia of the taper. And then it was only like 2 or 3 days before the race itself. I was like, oh, hello.
I feel fresh.
Yeah, I'm back. Let's go. So it's getting that right as well.
Should we talk about fueling?
What, failing to fuel properly?
Or failing to practice it.
Or
failing to practice. And this is something that you can start so early. We've actually recently, well, last year now, but relatively recently, a few weeks ago, put out a video with Mark on high carb fueling, which might, on the face of it, look like a really nerdy advanced video, but actually I think everyone could benefit from this. High carb fueling is something that it's started in the cycling world and it's now come over to the running world, and it's essentially just taking the right amount of carbs for you, not necessarily which might end up being more than the guidelines that we followed for God knows how many years, but you can practice fueling on your shortest run. It doesn't have to be the long run. You haven't only got 10 or 11 or 12 chances to take gels. Start fueling early and test what actually works for you.
So what is it? What is high carb fueling apart from exactly what it says on the tin?
Well, I think for a long time the recommendation was sort of 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour. Maybe it was slightly more than that. But now there are pro athletes that are doing 120 grams per hour. So if you think about most gels now, some used to be 20 grams in an individual gel, like of carbohydrate. Most of them now are 30 grams, or some larger packets that are 40 grams. So yeah, you're now talking about, in an extreme case, taking 3 big gels or 4 slightly smaller gels in a 1 hour of your marathon. But that's a lot for most people.
Wow.
That's a lot. So not everyone needs that. So you can do a test called a carb oxidation test, I think it's called. And then not everyone needs that, but also your stomach might not be able to tolerate it either. So what Sarah's saying about testing it on all of your runs, test it on your easy runs, but test it on your hard runs too. Test it running at pace. Test it when you're putting your body through the stuff that you're going to put it through on race day, because that's when your stomach is going to be under the most kind of load physically. Yeah,
that'd be 16 gels for me. I'd just turn into a jelly.
You don't have to take it as gels. So there are so many different
drinks.
Yeah, carb drinks, chews. There are so many different ways of like taking carbs in. That's something to practice as well, because it might be that, if someone's training hard all of the time, they might want to hone in on like what is the maximum way to get as many carbs in as possible. You are training for this marathon. Who knows what will happen afterwards? You might get the marathon bug, or you might be like, it's a half marathon for me, I'm out. So it might be like, okay, what is going to work for me for this? How many weeks are you doing? 14. For this 14-week block.
I just can't imagine taking on that much stuff, carrying that much stuff.
So then chews might be better, or carb drink, for example.
Yeah. That test you just said, is that one of the tests that you're now considering doing?
Yes, absolutely. Because for Valencia, so I think for my very first Valencia 2 years ago, I took 40 grams of carb per hour, which was in hindsight not enough. Maybe I took 60 grams. Can't quite remember how big the gel packets were. This year I took 2 40-gram gels per hour. I took 6 gels with me. So I was taking 80 grams per hour. But I haven't done the proper scientific test to work out what is exactly right for me to optimize my fueling, which I'm excited to do because I'm a geek. But yeah.
You can also do that with electrolytes as well.
Yes, to test how much you sweat. So this time around, I took my gels. My gels also had electrolyte in them. Had 200 grams of sodium in each gel, which is a fair amount. And when I finished in 2023, I was covered in salt, like as in my skin from the sweat. It was like I had like white crystals all over me and over my vest, and this time I didn't. So that was definitely... And it was hotter this time as well.
So what did you get right? How much were you taking?
I was taking 80 grams of carbs and and 400 milligrams of sodium each hour.
Where did you carry all this stuff?
Well, they were, that was in each, the carbs and the sodium were in one gel. So then I had 6 gels, and I had a pouch on the back of my shorts, and then I had 2, and I had belt loops on the front of my shorts. So
Was
I
it
had 2
heavy?
at the front, 4 at the back. Yeah. I mean, you're gradually getting lighter as you go. I felt like an F1 car.
Quick pit stop.
Yeah.
Do you carry this amount of stuff with you?
Yeah, why is it always, you just really don't like carrying stuff, do you?
Yeah,
But you're gonna have to carry stuff for your marathon.
But if you think about it, still
We're not carrying it for you.
I carried 6 40-gram gels. So that's 240 grams of...
Half a bag of sugar.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a bit too much.
The mistake to avoid here is not trying it. Test the different, might find the brand that works best for you, but then also within that brand, there'll be different flavors and textures, and some will have electrolytes. So test them all out, and you can do gut training. It's called gut training. So working out when you're going to take it in the race, and then taking the gels at the same intervals.
What about overdoing race eve activities? There is a shakeout run at most of these big events.
Yeah.
Always a good idea?
On the day, so it's usually the day before. It depends. I think if you're your first ever big race like this, sorry, I'm harping on about Valencia like I'm the world's most experienced marathoner. I've done 2. They're both at the same place. But on the Saturday, they have like the official shakeout run, which is maybe like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And that was really cool the first time around, but I didn't want to do it this year. I just wanted to be completely in control of my own thing. It was like there were too many people. You couldn't really control how fast you were running. It got really dusty because people were kicking up all of
we did it.
the dust. Yeah.
Didn't we?
I think it depends on, are you racing the marathon? Are you trying to get around and enjoy it? How are you running it? How do you want to run it? It might be that you want to go with a group and take your mind off it, and you don't really mind what pace you're running. Or it might be that you've got like a K at the end that you want to run at your target race pace, and so it's really serious for you to kind of go out and do it in your own way. I think that's probably one of the other things as well that people maybe don't plan. Like you've spent 10 plus weeks working out your route for a 30 kilometer long run, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I've got 5k to do the day before, I'll just do that. And especially like if you are going somewhere that isn't flat, definitely plan that one out as well, because there's no right answer, but I definitely think if you don't plan it, you could end up with the wrong answer for you.
Yeah, I met up with a few friends, just did an easy 5k around the centre of Valencia away from the kind of the masses. We actually went and explored and saw the stadium, which I'm sure Rick will know the name of, for Valencia Football Club. I thought you might know.
He's thinking.
It's got a great name, but it's like the world's steepest stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Something. It's got like the steepest
Really
stand. So
stands.
we went and ran around that and then ran back. It was like quite fun making a pilgrimage to something. I wouldn't normally do something like that, but it was good fun.
Is it the Mestalla?
Yes, that's it.
The Mestalla?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. But I think the main thing isn't about the shakeout runs. It's like, don't overcook it. Don't go, so spend ages on your feet. You probably have to go to the expo. And that's, sorry, we'll go on to like what you should do, not what you shouldn't do. There's nothing about an expo at any major marathon that is designed for the benefit of the runners taking part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how much you hate it.
Yeah, this drives, I just think it's absolutely mental.
Do you remember with
But
the first year you did Valencia?
Yeah.
And we got you to stand in a queue. You were like, I'm not standing in this.
We were queuing for an hour and a half, weren't we?
Yeah.
Like this time, in fairness, we went straight in.
literally
It was an hour and a half. I remember we queued.
That was
This time I did go
funny.
straight in, but I was like, what?
You were like, why am I standing in a queue?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
You usually have to go
ago.
somewhere that's, it was. You usually have to go somewhere that's miles out of the city.
So far out. Yeah.
Then you have to queue to get in.
Yeah.
Then you get your number, which is the only reason that you're there.
Yeah.
And then you have to snake around the actual activations.
Like an
And in fairness, there's loads of really cool stuff that you can buy. But then there are also brands that are exhibiting where you can buy like energy gels and watches and all that sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, surely the day before your marathon, you don't need a new watch or a new energy gel.
No.
That's like your...
No, but you can buy it as a like treat for after the race.
Yeah.
Should we talk about what you should do?
Oh, just a last one on the expo.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? So now, having run the marathon, I would quite like to get some merch, as in like the official race jacket or whatever. Not the free race finishers t-shirt, but like the stuff that is on sale in the expo.
Yeah.
But I can't bring myself to buy it beforehand because I don't know what experience I'm going to have the following day.
I see what you mean. So if it's a negative experience, you don't want to be reminded of it.
Yeah, I don't want to spend
Maybe
£100 on a jacket and then be like, I just want to put it in the bin because I didn't enjoy the marathon the next day, or I like.
Can you buy it after?
You probably can, but you sort of don't have that. They
do need like a little stool.
In a way, I'd rather I've walked through the like merch experience immediately having finished and got my medal.
Be like, yeah.
I'd have tapped on everything with my phone. I'd have been like, oh, I didn't have my phone, but I'd have been like trying to buy everything because I had a good, I felt like I was like, let's celebrate. But.
Well, see if you can convince anyone to do it that way around. Right, race day. Let's talk about race day itself. We talked about a lot about like the training and the build up. What are things to do and not do on race day?
Pace consistently and stick with what your plan is. Do not get excited.
Yeah, I ran...
Too excited in the first 5K.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel ace.
Correct. Yeah, I was chatting to someone about this the other day. I think you have to set your expectations for what the first... like 10 to 15k of a marathon is going to feel like. The optimal experience for the start of a marathon is to feel bored, I would say.
Yeah.
That is the best. If you can just sit at a pace and feel bored, you're having a great day and you're setting yourself up to feel really good later on. Whereas I think if you actively enjoy or find the first 10 to 15k fun, you may have gone off too quick.
I didn't enjoy anything in the first half this time.
Yeah, but that's the experience for most people.
Yeah, and then it was like someone had just come away and literally taken a weight off my shoulders the moment I passed through halfway.
Oh, really?
Through actual halfway though, and that's the other thing is halfway is not really halfway in a marathon.
No.
Like you got to, in my head, because I'd got it so wrong the first time and I'd gone so hard from halfway, 21k through till like 32k. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh my God, I've still got 10.2 kilometers still to go. This time around, I was obsessed with, I was like, get to halfway and then this weight lifted. And I was like, oh, that's good. That's a bonus. And then I was like, okay, another 12k. I'm going to get to 32k before I'm even thinking this has got hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, so everything I was doing was like, just get to 32k and then I'm going to focus. Mm-hmm. And that I found really helped me in the second half. But yeah, it's don't bank time, don't surge, don't mess about with your pacing. Stick to what you're going to do, except that you might have lost some time in the first couple of kilometers because there might be big crowds and you can't run that fast.
Yeah.
And don't try and make them up in the next 2 kilometers. Think about if you've lost 30 seconds in the first 3k compared to what you wanted to run, you've still got 39 kilometers to go.
Yeah.
So you only need to make it up by like less than a second per kilometer.
Yeah.
So that's
making up time on stuff like that though. It's hard not to be tempted to make up for a toilet stop, for example, because if you lose a minute and you think, well, you got to return to your target pace, but you have lost that time.
Yeah. But I don't think you can. I think
you just have to really slowly.
Yeah.
Incrementally build it back up.
Don't even think about trying to take.
The only way I would be thinking like, okay, well, I've got X amount of kilometers left. Divide that time I've just lost between those kilometers, and I'll maybe think about getting 1 or 2 seconds or whatever back each kilometer. But even then, I'd be also thinking now, and with the experience I've had in both marathons, like 35, 37 kilometers, I'd be like, I could make up if I feel okay and I've got to that point without having screwed myself over. I could easily make up a minute in that last 5k, but if I can't even run anymore because I've dug myself a hole too deep.
A minute in the last 5k.
Well, I say easily, but I think I'm more likely to make it up in that last 5k than I am to make it up between say 25 and 30k, and then hold on by like having gone so hard so early.
Holding on is hard. That hits on a good point of like unrealistic goals, and it's so easy to say like, oh, I'm going to go for this, and people start to like panic about the heat if it's like hot. A really hot day, but then nothing in their goal changes. And it's so cruel that sometimes you will have booked Valencia or London Marathon or like a marathon where it could be cold.
Yeah.
If it is hot, I think you do need to set your expectations. Even if you still have that goal that you're shooting for, but then you have a plan for if it feels harder than you would expect it to.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult, isn't it? Because you can't just next week run another marathon and you've built up for so long. So it is tempting to go, right, I was trying to break 3 hours.
So I'm just going to try.
But I've always known that's right on my max. That's on my limit. And I've done all my training in 10 degrees or 8 degrees or 5 degrees. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a marathon like this year with London, and then it's going to be 25 degrees.
Yeah.
And I think you have to, if you want to have a good experience on the day, I think you just have to be accepting that like it would be a miracle if you could run that time in those conditions. And so just be smart. Oh, yeah. Like there was a amazing coach called Alan Story I used to know through British Athletics. He used to coach Chris Thompson, who we've spoken to before on the running channel. And I remember he would have been like the British endurance coach, like the head of endurance, whatever. And I remember going to world championships and Olympics, and he'd be sat with the marathon guys, and like really, he would have done the calculations, but he would be like, okay, this is London, assuming that London was a normal London day, like 12 degrees, not 25 degrees. He'd be like, okay, this is London +5 for the pros. Right. So like you might be going to Osaka where it's going to be 35 degrees for the world championships. And he'd be like, okay, this is London +6. So if you're in 2:10 shape, then you've got to treat this like a 2:16 marathon. And if you do that, you'll be competitive against everyone else out there. Yeah. And the people that don't, they'll be way ahead of you at halfway, but then they won't finish.
That's what's really hard as well, because it's kind of easy in those senses. It's kind of easier to be an elite, because often, like as a non-elite runner, the kind of competition that we're setting for ourselves is often a time and often a PB, and no one. There isn't that same thing where like if my PB is 3:44 and I go and run another London marathon and it is 25 degrees, I can't be like, well, London it was 12. This London it was this. So technically that is a PB, but it's just 8 minutes slower than that. But it was London +8. So.
But I do think you need to be like, if you were there and you were thinking, right, it's going to be a super hot day, I'm going to try and beat my 3:44 PB. Yeah. I think you'd need to be acknowledging to yourself, I probably need to be in 3:35 shape to do it. Yeah. And if you're not, then you know you're going to pay for it at some point. And
that's just so irritating as well, because then I think I would just be in the pub afterwards like, ran a 3:44, I'm in 3:35 shape though. Do you know what I mean? And everyone would be like, my life. Okay, of course you are.
Yeah. That kind of plays into trusting official markers, doesn't it? And not your watch.
To get your pacing right. Because you're going to be adding
meters, because you're going to be weaving, especially at the beginning. You'll probably tighten up a little bit more in the second half, but you're going to hit the 5K mark, and you're probably going to have run 150 meters more.
It depends on your mentality. I quite like this because it gives me something to focus on. So I spend my entire race thinking about the maths of it. And so I'm clocking, okay, at 5K, my watch beeps at 5K and I look at the time, and that gives me, I trust my watch's pacing in terms of my effort. So if I'm trying to run 4-minute Ks and I've run 4-minute Ks on my watch, then I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to accept that. But then I'll also clock my 5K split as I go over the 5K mat. So I'll be looking at it and be like, okay, it's 20 seconds since. So at the moment I need to allow for at least 20 seconds on the 5K. And then I'll gradually be extrapolating. So I'll get to halfway and I'm like, okay, that's 40 seconds.
Extrapolating, something I've never done in a marathon.
Well, so to be fair, 5K 20 to a half marathon 40
it's distracting, isn't it?
Isn't right, but that's the thing, is it won't be consistent on the course. So it's not like you won't just get to 5K and go, I'm 20 seconds, so I need to do 8 times 20 seconds by the end of it. It's more that like you just need to keep an eye on it, and then you need to halfway gives you the best, clearest gauge, because the maths is easy.
I get that, but does that mean your target pace is irrelevant then, and you actually need to go lower? Because if my target pace is 5:48 per kilometre,
does that get you 4:05?
Gets me 4:05.
Great.
Yeah.
So is my target pace actually 5:40?
You just have to. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's 5:40, but I would say that you have to be prepared to run a little bit further than, like what you were saying about your red line. Yeah. So there's always, anytime it gets to marathon season, I always see a video floating around Instagram, which is like, if you want to run a sub 3 hour marathon, you don't need to run 4:15 per kilometre. You actually need to run faster than that, which is true, because 9 times out of 10, the distance that will come up on your watch will be longer than a marathon. There's obviously GPS drift, lots of other things that could have affected it. But I would say that if you're targeting a time like 4:05, 4:05, or 4 hours or 3 hours or 5 hours or whatever it might be, you do need to be prepared to potentially go a little bit faster, because when you
this is quite annoying.
Hit the kilometre marker or the mile marker, that might be showing as faster on your watch, but it's showing as it will show as 5:48 on your split.
I'd be saying trust your watch in the early stages and don't try and bank time or go faster. And then once you get to 5 or 10K, then if you can do the maths and be aware enough of your surroundings, I'd be then doing or in miles, depending on where you are, then I'd be making the adjustments on the go. And like, if you know that to run a particular, like if you are looking for a really exact time and you're going to be disappointed if you don't get it, then you have to be on top of this, because you're going to get to 10K. Then you need to look at where your watch beeps, and then maybe lap your watch, or just wait until you get to the 10K point where you go across the mats, and then have a look and be like, okay, that was 15 seconds. Right. I'm 15 seconds behind where I actually need to be. And then start doing the maths from that point. That's how I would treat it. But I wouldn't go off really hard from the start to try and make up 2 or 3 seconds per kilometre or per mile to account for that drift later on. I would assess as I go, and then start squeezing the pace a little bit, because in a way it's going to force you to hold yourself back a little bit in that early stage.
Does that help?
Yeah, it's also a distraction.
Yeah,
that's what I like about it. Yeah.
And if they're just to wrap this up, because I think we've given so many tips there, but I think the one nice one to finish on is just maintain a positive mindset, which is so hard to do sometimes, because I think the marathon is so overwhelming and it takes over so much of your life if you're training for a marathon, and so much like love and passion for running goes into it. But try and remain positive, because not only can that have a huge effect on your running, it just makes the whole experience that little bit nicer. So if you are training for a marathon, huge best of luck. We're right behind you. Do let us know which one you're training for. And Rick, we can't wait to see you start your training plan, and you're going to be giving us weekly updates on how you feel and how it's going.
Yeah, and then hopefully we'll be doing a little show a couple of days beforehand. In the last 2 years, I've been able to enjoy a nice glass of Gavi while we do our
not this
show.
time.
You're going to have a nice little glass of electrolytes, and we'll be saying, good luck,
Sad
mate.
Stocking
up on the sodium instead.
Times.
Well,
have a nice run.
Yeah, before we answer some questions, I want to say that actually another way of keeping up with Rick's marathon training would be to join the Running Channel Club. So I've mentioned it last week that if you want to support the Running Channel, we've been doing this podcast for coming up on 3 years now, which is nuts. Well over 10 million downloads and listens and stuff, which I still can't believe. If you do want to support us, the way to do that is to join the Running Channel Club, and listeners of the podcast get an exclusive 50% off an annual membership to the Running Channel Club with the code POD50, POD50. So if you go to club.therunningchannel.com, then you can do that. You get extra episodes of the podcast, and it's the world's most kind of inclusive and supportive social media community. So even for people who don't do social media.
Pod 50. And now to Shropshire. I've always liked saying Shropshire.
It really rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it?
It's a nice place. This is from Gemma in that county. She begins with this.
Yeah, I think all emails should begin with this.
Hello, CEO and staff. How do we feel about that?
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Although she could be referring to any one of us.
Yeah, apart from Rick, he's a guest presenter.
Yeah, painful. Still hurts a little bit, though. Yeah.
Imagine if it was the other way around. If you were CEO, Rick, what would your first act be?
I think I'd just sack you two and just talk for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And get someone else to edit it.
No, I'd maintain that control.
Maintain that.
I've got a question about mind over matter. I started Couch to 5K in January 2024 as an overweight woman and have progressed massively since then. I've run multiple 10K races this year and dropped 20 kilograms so far. Awesome. I'm a pretty slow shuffler, always trying to pace so I can finish runs with minimal walking. It takes about 45 minutes to do a 5K and has for about the last year, even with my weight loss. My husband says I'm physically fitter than what I'm running, but my head still thinks I'm an overweight runner that can only plod. I did some 30-second intervals recently and hit 8 minutes per mile. I died. But when I set out for my 5K parkrun, I still felt exhausted from doing a 15-min mile pace. So what do you guys think? Am I stuck in a pace based on how I see myself? Will my mind eventually catch up to the speeds that I can go? And she's got her first marathon in April, so she'd love to get in some faster shape for the start line.
Oh, well, we're wishing you lots of luck for the marathon, Gemma.
Half marathon, sorry.
First half marathon, either way, wishing you lots of luck. I want to take Sarah back to, do you remember when we went out to Lanzarote on a training camp? And we took a group of Running Channel fans, community, through their paces on various. Sorry, it was only
take
for CEOs.
You out on a lads trip to Lanzarote. Yeah. You having a laugh?
Sorry,
it was only for
still be there.
It was only for CEO and staff. So
right, yeah.
The
people who check their emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you had flight tickets.
So you replied 48 hours too late on WhatsApp. So we're putting people through their paces on the track.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of had the conversation with them. Some of them had never run on the track before. It can be quite an intimidating place to go. But out there, it was so beautiful. No one else was on the track. We had it to ourselves. It was amazing. And we were supposed to be running particular paces. And the whole conversation was about having different paces in your armory so that you're kind of equipped to take a training plan on a little bit better, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, people who had started with very much one pace, they did their warm-up and then they went into like the first effort and it was broadly the same as their warm-up, and you and I were looking at each other like, what's going on? And then by the end of it, people are sort of racing each other around, and people that genuinely said to us like, unlocked different paces.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. So 2 things here. One, I think, Gemma, there's like a huge difference between the 2 paces that you've done there. So like a 30-second interval versus a whole 5K is like quite different. That's like the 30 seconds is really, really anaerobic. So right kind of at the top of your range. Whereas 5K, even though it does feel like a sprint and it does feel like all out, it's still like an endurance run. And you still need to work on kind of longer sustained effort. So I feel like if you did a like 5 by a kilometer workout and like maybe just go out and do, what would you do as the rest in between 5 by a K?
Well, given what Gemma said, I'd make it as long as you need.
Yeah.
So like traditionally what you'd be trying to do is keep that recovery as short as possible. So you might do 5 times a K, and as you're well trained, get that recovery right down to like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But this could be, you could walk for 5-10 minutes in between them and just try and focus on being able to run, and maybe not even starting at a K, you could start at 400 meters, but I don't think 30 seconds is far enough.
Yeah.
And almost you're trying to do it too fast. Like you said, Sarah, the difference between what you want to do and what you're trying to do there is so vast that it's almost like 2 different sports.
But 30 seconds not far.
I don't think it's far.
But you've unlocked 8-minute miling, which is incredible.
Exactly.
And then the more you do, basically you're wanting to like push that up to then unlock faster paces in the middle. But I would say like if you're, what's the 5K and 45 minutes for 5K, maybe if you see what like 35 or 40 minute 5K pace translates as, and then try that for the K reps. And it might still feel, so I've done a lot of runs with Tom and he's very, very similar, where if you ask Tom to like race you around a track.
Yeah, his 5K, 10K and half marathon pace are basically the same thing, right?
Yeah, and he would, but he would beat me. So my 5K pace is 7-8 minutes faster than his 5K time. He would absolutely smoke me in 100 meter, 200 meter, 300, 400, probably like between 600 and 800 meters as well.
Yeah, when's the crossover?
Probably around like 800 meters, I think I would have him. But because he has so many, I don't know what the tipping point is from like fast twitch muscle fibers to slow twitch, but it is kind of like 2 different energy systems. He spent his whole childhood playing football, so he's like so quick. But yeah, that's what I would say. Go out and do some longer sustained interval sessions, maybe even some tempo runs as well. Might be quite useful for 5K training. Yeah,
just trying to mix it up and do something that's faster than that 5K pace. I think there's an element of physiology that you're just not quite ready to do it. But there's also definitely a mental element where you can't quite unlock it in your mind. So that's why you need to do it.
Also, give yourself permission to not do the full session.
Yes.
Because that's definitely held me back for ages. I was so diligent in needing to finish the session that I would hold myself back because I was scared about being able to do the final rep. Go out, like see if you
find the limit.
Yeah, if you can't keep going after 3 out of 5 reps, that's okay because you've learnt the limit for next time.
Yeah, exactly. So you almost want to start with the opposite of what long-term goal for most runners is that you're doing something that's close to race pace for like a decent amount of sustained time, like a 1K or a mile effort. And then you're looking to reduce the recovery because you're trying to simulate doing a race where ultimately you get no recovery. But in this case, before you get to that stage, you just need to get comfortable running at paces that are faster than what you're used to and try and extend the distances at which you run them for. So you've started with 30 seconds, take a little bit of pace off so you're not going quite so fast and go to a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then start looking at distances like 400 meters or a kilometer or a mile. Yeah. And don't worry about the recoveries at all. Just try running about that pace. Then all of a sudden there will be a day when you get into the race and you're like, oh God, this feels all right.
Yeah, let us know how you get on, Gemma.
Yes.
That was a really good question.
That was such a good question.
Because there's so much going on there, both physically and from the training point of view, but also in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buzzing.
I think I am pace A runner, and I've run that my whole life. How can I unlock pace B? There you go. Thanks very much for watching or listening to the Running Channel podcast. We'll be back for another one next week.
Bye.
Bye.